There are moments when desire is no longer about touch alone. It's about the unspoken, the way two energies collide and ignite. It's not the technique that makes someone weak in your presence. It's the rhythm, the way you carry yourself, the depth of your confidence. When you know how to blend connection, anticipation, and intensity, you create experiences that linger in the mind long after the night has passed. Anticipation is one of the most intoxicating forces in attraction, and it begins long before any touch is exchanged. It's the pause, the silence, the space between what is about to happen and what hasn't yet begun. When you master the art of anticipation, you transform even the smallest moments into magnetic experiences. Think about how the air changes when two people stand close enough to feel each other's breath, but not quite close enough to touch. That electric tension is more powerful than anything rushed or careless. It's in the waiting, the teasing, the lingering eye contact that builds a storm of desire. Anticipation doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't rush forward, it holds back just enough to make every second heavier with possibility. The mind always craves what it cannot immediately have. When you slow down, when you allow the moment to stretch, you create a hunger that goes deeper than physical impulse. You're no longer just there. You become the center of focus, the one who controls the energy of the room. Every small move, every glance, every pause is magnified because the other person is waiting for what's next. That waiting is what makes the eventual connection unforgettable. The power lies in not giving everything at once, but allowing the mystery to unfold piece by piece. Anticipation is also about confidence. When you're secure enough to hold back, to let the silence speak, you show that you're not desperate for the moment, you own it. That control becomes irresistible. The most captivating experiences don't come from speed, they come from depth, from the steady build of energy that leaves the mind guessing and the body aching for more. When you play with anticipation, you create a rhythm that isn't rushed but intentional. Each move becomes a choice, and each choice carries weight. In truth, anticipation is about awakening the imagination. It allows the other person to paint pictures in their mind, to wonder, to feel a craving that grows stronger with every second of restraint. And when the moment finally comes, it's not just a meeting of bodies. It's the release of every thought, every glance, every lingering second of waiting. That release is what makes control vanish and passion take over completely. Connection goes far beyond the surface. It's more than closeness, more than touch. It's the invisible thread that pulls two people into the same rhythm, where words become unnecessary and presence speaks louder than anything else. A deep emotional and physical connection is what transforms ordinary moments into unforgettable ones. It's what makes someone feel seen, heard, and understood in ways that break past the surface. When you lock eyes and truly allow yourself to be present, you create an intimacy that no technique alone could ever deliver. That gaze, that stillness, that unspoken understanding becomes a force that can't be denied. On a physical level, connection is not just about how you move, it's about how you listen. Every reaction, every breath, every subtle change in energy gives you a map to follow. When you pay attention, when you allow yourself to respond to the cues, instead of forcing the moment, you create harmony. It's not a performance, it's a dialogue. One movement invites another, one response opens the door for something deeper. This is where the physical becomes more than contact. It becomes communication, a language without words that only the two of you can understand. Emotionally, connection is about vulnerability. It's about being willing to let down the walls, to strip away the masks, and to show up fully as yourself. That kind of openness is rare, and it's exactly why it's powerful. When you let someone feel the truth of who you are, when you stop trying to impress and simply allow the raw version of yourself to shine through, you give them something real to hold on to. And in return, they feel safe enough to give the same. That exchange creates a bond stronger than desire alone. It creates trust, and trust intensifies everything. The physical without emotional depth can fade quickly. But when both are present, The experience becomes something that lingers in memory long after it's over. It's the way your energy blends, the way your presence wraps around theirs, the way the moment feels bigger than either of you alone. A true connection is like a spark that doesn't burn out. It leaves a mark, a reminder of how powerful it feels when two people meet not just in body, but in soul. That is what makes the experience impossible to forget, and that is what takes it beyond control into surrender. Tension is the hidden current that makes desire almost unbearable, the invisible weight pressing between two people who both know what they want but refuse to rush into it. It is not about force, it is about restraint. When you know how to build tension, you take ordinary moments and stretch them into something unforgettable. It's in the way your hand almost touches but doesn't, in the way your words trail off, leaving the other person hanging in the silence. That tension is the spark that grows hotter with every second, making even the smallest touch feel like an explosion. Building tension is a game of patience. It's about slowing everything down instead of giving in too quickly. The human mind is wired to crave what feels just out of reach. And when you hold back, when you let the moment breathe, the craving multiplies. A soft glance, a delayed response, a pause before moving forward, these small acts of restraint can be more powerful than anything obvious. You're not just present, you're in control of the pace. And when you set the pace, you dictate how high the fire rises. Every great experience is fueled by contrast. Stillness makes movement more powerful. Silence makes sound more intoxicating. Distance makes closeness overwhelming. Tension thrives in that contrast. When you keep someone on the edge, never quite sure what will happen next, you awaken their imagination. They begin to fill the space with their own desire, building it higher than you could with action alone. That mental anticipation makes the eventual release irresistible because it's not just the body reacting, it's the mind surrendering too. Tension also communicates confidence. It shows that you're not in a hurry, that you trust the moment enough to let it unfold slowly. That calmness is magnetic because it creates security while at the same time stoking the fire of mystery. The longer the wait, the stronger the impact when the barrier finally breaks. Without tension, everything risks becoming predictable, rushed, or forgettable. With it, even the simplest gesture becomes charged with meaning. Ultimately, tension heightens desire because it teaches the value of patience. It transforms hunger into longing and longing into passion. It reminds both people that pleasure is not just in the act, but in the space before it, in the heartbeat of waiting, in the quiet seconds where everything feels suspended. That is where control begins to slip, where the mind gives way to instinct, and where passion takes over completely. Confidence is the silent force that shapes every interaction, the unspoken quality that can turn the simplest moment into something magnetic. It isn't about arrogance or trying too hard to impress. It's about the way you carry yourself, the way you stand in your own presence without needing to prove anything. When you're confident, you shift the energy around you. The atmosphere changes because there's no rush, no desperation, only certainty. That calm assurance makes every glance, every word, every move feel intentional and powerful. It's not what you do, but how you do it that creates an impact impossible to ignore. Presence works hand in hand with confidence. To be fully present means you're not distracted, not somewhere else in your mind, but deeply tuned into the moment unfolding in front of you. When you give someone your complete attention, when your focus doesn't waver, they feel it immediately. Presence is rare, and that rarity is what makes it irresistible. It tells the other person they matter that this moment is the only one that exists. That kind of focus builds a connection far stronger than any words could manage. Confidence also shows through rhythm. Someone who trusts themselves doesn't rush. They know that silence can be louder than sound, that stillness can be more powerful than movement. They're not afraid of pauses because they understand the weight those pauses carry. Each action becomes deliberate, each touch or word layered with meaning, because it wasn't done out of hesitation, but out of choice. This kind of control over yourself creates a sense of authority without dominance, strength without force. The combination of confidence and presence also creates safety. When you stand grounded in who you are, you invite the other person to relax, to let go, to step into that space without fear. Trust is born in those moments, and with trust comes the freedom to be vulnerable. That vulnerability, paired with your unwavering presence, transforms the dynamic into something unforgettable. In the end, confidence and presence don't just make you magnetic, they make the experience deeper, richer, and more intense. They allow you to guide the moment with ease, not by overpowering, but by simply being fully there, unapologetically yourself. That is what makes desire spiral out of control, because there is nothing more captivating than someone who owns themselves completely and shares that energy without hesitation. Movement is a language of its own, one that doesn't rely on words but speaks directly to the body and the emotions hidden beneath the surface. The way you move carries meaning, sometimes soft, sometimes bold, sometimes slow enough to stretch time itself. Rhythm is what transforms those movements into something unforgettable. It's not about perfection or choreography, it's about flow, the way your energy matches and responds to the other person. When you move with rhythm, you create harmony, and that harmony can be more intoxicating than anything else. Every gesture, every shift, every touch has the power to communicate. A slow, deliberate move says patience and control. A sudden change in pace says urgency and hunger. The body understands this language instinctively, and when rhythm takes over, words fade into the background. You're not just two people in the same space, you're two energies weaving into each other, building a pattern that only you can create together. That's what makes the moment unique. It can't be replicated because it's alive, breathing in sync with both of you. Rhythm is also about contrast. The stillness before movement, the pause between breaths, the acceleration that follows restraint, all of it creates layers of meaning. When you know how to play with tempo, you keep the moment unpredictable. That unpredictability keeps the mind engaged, wondering what comes next, while the body responds instinctively to every shift. It's not repetition that makes passion powerful. It's variation, the rise and fall, the slow and fast, the tension and release that make everything more intense. Movement and rhythm also show presence. When you're fully tuned into the moment, your body naturally adapts. You sense when to slow down, when to lean closer, when to hold back. You're not forcing anything, you're responding, flowing, allowing the moment to guide you. That responsiveness creates a deep connection because it shows attentiveness. It says, I'm here with you. I feel this with you. That awareness builds trust and heightens intensity. At its core, rhythm is not just physical, it's emotional. It's the beat of two people sensing, creating a pulse that belongs only to them. And when that rhythm is right, when every move feels effortless and natural, it creates a sense of inevitability. It's as if the moment was always meant to happen exactly that way, with exactly that timing, until everything builds to a point where control dissolves and only passion remains. Vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, yet in truth, it is the strongest force in intimacy. To be vulnerable is to let the walls fall, to set aside the masks, and to step into the moment with nothing to hide. It's about showing your true self, raw and unguarded, and trusting that it will be received with acceptance instead of judgment. That openness creates a bond that no surface level attraction can match. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you invite the other person to do the same, and in that mutual exchange, a deeper connection is born. Surrender is the natural extension of vulnerability. It's the point where control is no longer clung to but released, where the need to lead or resist dissolves into trust. In surrender, there's freedom to feel, to experience, to lose yourself completely in the moment. That release is what transforms an experience from something fleeting into something unforgettable. When both people surrender to the moment, the energy becomes larger than either of them. It's no longer about two individuals. It's about the connection itself taking on a life of its own. There is power in surrender because it magnifies presence. It means you're not planning the next move, not calculating, not guarding yourself. You're simply here, fully immersed in every second. That immersion makes the experience richer, more intense, and infinitely more real. Vulnerability paired with surrender is what makes someone feel not just desired, but cherished. It says, I trust you enough to let go, and that trust is what deepens intimacy into something lasting. Unforgettable moments are rarely about perfection. They're about authenticity, about the courage to let emotions surface without holding them back. A laugh, a sigh, a whisper, or even silence can carry more weight than any polished performance. Vulnerability gives those moments their power because they are real, unfiltered, and deeply human. Surrender ensures those moments aren't resisted but embraced, flowing naturally into something greater. When vulnerability and surrender intertwine, control fades away, and what remains is pure connection. It's the kind of experience that lingers in memory long after it's over, not because of what was done, but because of how it felt, raw, honest, and impossible to replicate. That is what makes the bond unforgettable, the kind of bond that leaves its mark and cannot be erased. When all of it comes together, the anticipation that teases the senses, the connection that roots you in something deeper, the tension that keeps every moment alive, the confidence that steadies the energy, the rhythm that flows like an unspoken language, and the vulnerability that opens the heart, you reach a place where control no longer exists. What remains is pure surrender, an experience that doesn't just pass but stays etched into memory. It is not about mechanics or perfection, it is about presence, trust, and the willingness to give yourself fully to the moment. That is where true passion lives, not in force, but in flow, not in control, but in release. And once someone tastes that depth, nothing else ever feels the same again.